destroyed fates. This is the remembrance of those taken by the regime, of those who were abducted, imprisoned, and silenced, of those whose lives were shattered by torture, violence, and false accusations, of those who are no longer with us, yet whose names remain the conscience of our nation. The memorial of destroyed fates is our document, our voice against oblivion, our fight for those whom they tried to erase. We restore the names, we restore the memory. We will not allow the genocide of silence to continue. Merdan Muhammedov, known under the pseudonym Kemine, the activist Turkey handed over to a dictatorship. The case of Turkmen activist Merdan Muhammedov has become one of the most striking examples of the forced deportation of Turkmen citizens from Turkey. His story demonstrates how authoritarian regimes use international cooperation, migration mechanisms, and pressure on the diaspora to suppress political dissent. 32-year-old Merdan Muhammedov lived in Ankara. On July 11, 2024, he was summoned to a municipal office, supposedly regarding outstanding utility payments, but was detained by the police right on the spot. The next day, the activist was transferred to Istanbul's removal center, and on June 26th, he was forcibly deported to Turkmenistan. In Turkmenistan, Merdan Muhammedov was convicted on several politically motivated charges: espionage, extremism, calls for violent change of the constitution, creating a threat to national security. Witnesses report that Muhammedov appeared in investigative procedures with a split lip and swollen face, indicating torture and abuse in pretrial detention. Merdan Muhammedov left Turkmenistan as a teenager and had lived in Turkey since 2012. He joined the opposition group XSM Turkmenistan in 2020. He organized protests in Turkey, ran the group's social media and YouTube channel, conducted investigations into corruption schemes, criticized the Berdimuhamedov regime, exposed torture, unlawful arrests, and disappearances, documented the enrichment of the president's inner circle. He was driven by the desire to build a civilized country. Turkey has effectively become part of Turkmenistan's repressive machinery by handing over those who seek protection. Turkmenistan remains one of the most closed states in the world. According to the Human Rights Campaign Prove They Are Alive, over 20 years, 162 prisoners were held in complete isolation. 29 people died while serving their sentences without any contact with the outside world. Torture, enforced disappearances, denial of contact with lawyers and relatives. This is standard practice of the Niyazov and Berdimuhamedov regimes. Into these very conditions, Merdan Muhammedov was sent after his deportation. August 21, 2024, mass interrogations were carried out in Turkmenistan in connection with Muhammedov's case. Security forces searched for anyone who had ever communicated with him on social media. This illustrates the scale of the regime's fear of a young activist and his influence. The fate of Merdan Muhammedov is an example of international cooperation with a dictatorship, a violation of the European Convention on Human Rights, the prohibition of torture and extradition under risk of torture, a dangerous precedent for all Turkmen asylum seekers, a demonstration of the regime's fear of any dissent. This is the story of a man who wanted freedom for his country and us and was punished for telling the truth. The case of Merdan Muhammedov is not just a personal tragedy, it is part of a systemic pattern: persecution of the opposition, enforced disappearances of activists, pressure on the diaspora, and Turkey's forced cooperation with the Turkmen regime. Merdan Muhammedov's fate remains unknown, and his life is in real danger.